A podcast on a holiday?
I was snickerdoodled into.
Yeah, I said,
early.
you know what? You look like you want to do a podcast right before
I thought
the
I was coming to
fireworks.
eat lunch before the fireworks.
You're going to eat some knowledge. Wait, tell us what this podcast is about.
This podcast is about making and baking dough.
I feel like that you just put, like you were thinking of the next word as the word was coming out of your mouth.
For sure, I didn't think I was going to be doing a podcast today.
Well, we're here and we talk about consistency is key. Nobody's going to listen to this. They're like, no, we're with our families. We don't want you.
Let in with.
I thought if I said that, you would not come early. So I didn't. And then you were sitting there eating an edible arrangement. And I said, do you think we should do the podcast? You talk about consistency.
One of my great sugar cookies. But yeah, this is an extension of a Facebook.
That's it, guys. That's the podcast.
You take it.
This is the Baking It Down podcast, an extension of a Facebook. A Facebook group where we talk about online marketing and sales tactics to increase the bottom line of your bakery, whether storefront. Most of us are cottage home based and do online marketing. So a lot of the techniques that we have implemented in our day job, you can apply to almost anything you want to sell.
Good thing about this podcast, no one's going to listen to it. Everyone's at a party.
They're like, we're not on Facebook right now.
Not Facebook.
Yeah, so Corey and I weren't invited to any parties, so she's here. And we're doing the podcast. Follow us for more friend-making advice. So the podcast today, Corey and I decided we want to talk about the ABCs.
Always be closing.
And I think Corey brings up a great topic. A lot of times, I have a disorder, like a syndrome.
Yes.
When I see a wall of text, I cannot focus on it.
It's hard to read it. You have to be like, okay, I need to go pop some popcorn.
Yeah, if there's
get
no
in my
line breaks,
cozy
if there's
little
no formatting,
couch.
I'm outie 5,000.
It's hard to digest.
Yeah, because your brain, okay, the ex-boyfriend I said, I need you to talk like you're writing an outline to a thesis. So you need your thesis statement, your supporting arguments, and then we need a closer. But we can't talk about everything.
I can see
We broke up.
the relationship didn't make it.
We got to the closing arguments, and I said, I am done with you. So that is kind of what we want to talk about as it applies to closing sales. So ABCs of selling is always be closing. And oftentimes we see people jump in their own way with walls of text, with miscellaneous extraneous information that doesn't land the sale. If anything, it confuses the audience.
When I sold cars, everything you did, you could get.
Tell us more about your sleazy car sales days.
Sleazy car sales. You could get leads 3 different ways. Someone walking through the door, someone calling in, or someone emailing in.
Well, I assume walking through the door is most quantified lead because they've taken an action.
Oh, you got in trouble if you didn't sell them the car. Their body was there. But when someone called into the office and you took their phone call, your number one priority when they called was to get a phone number. They did not want you to not get a phone number. If the call was dropped and they're like, did you get their phone number? And you said no. Bank.
Didn't they call in?
Yeah, but you had to get like their cell phone number.
Oh.
You're like, hey, just in case this call is dropped, can I get the best way to reach you?
Very
if this
awesome
call-"
way.
Yeah, because if they, the call is dropped or something, you had no way to pester them again.
I wonder psychologically if giving somebody your number already establishes some type of relationship. A lot of people will not give people their phone number, but when that's exchanged, well, we've moved this on up.
And in the way they made us say it was not like it was important, even though it was super
If
important.
this call is dropped, it's so passive. I'll give you my number if you think this call is going to drop. All these people are like, I'm going on a date. Hey, if this call is dropped, can I get your phone number, not your Snapchat, please?
So that was something like it was always get to the next important part of the sale. Don't like go over your life story. And they're like, yeah, well, I had 15 minutes to buy a car online
And that's what
chatted
kind of
away.
happens in kind of these, I mean, let's be honest, Facebook Messenger is a pretty relaxed place to conduct business. That's not
people say price.
yeah. So when we're on Facebook Messenger, it's easy to fall in the trap that this is an official business, when in reality, for many of us, it is.
You feel like your time is being taken. Whereas they're like, oh yeah, I'm just sending you like.
I'm not, you and I are not tracking. What I'm saying is that a cookie baker often treats Facebook like it's hey, these are my friends, just casual. When in reality, it is a form of business, and to constantly move that sale forward.
Sometimes I see bakers like, yeah, I'm ghosted all the time. You know, and I always, in my mind, it goes to like, are you being ghosted in Messenger? Because that's where, if I was to ghost someone, would ghost them in Messenger.
Right. But I want to say all businesses all the time are being ghosted. They're constantly being ghosted. But what happens when you dive into Messenger, you kind of have this more casual approach. A lot of us on Facebook, and I see you guys posting those political things on your personal page, you're treating Facebook like this personal tool. Whereas if you are on there for business, it is also a business tool. So Corey and I have talked about other podcasts, how to keep the focus on sales at the expense of your great aunts, cousins, brothers, knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when we're in the DMs and somebody says, hey, I'd like to place an order for a day. Let's, Corey, pretend you're out of town. You're at my house having a grand old party with an
July
edible.
4th. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happens? What could derail this?
What could, if they inquire about a day that I'm not here?
Yeah, you gave me this example literally before we started recording the podcast.
I say, this is what I said when we recorded the podcast. When someone emails in and they're like, hey, I would like to place an order. I'm like, in my first email, it's not a long thing of text. It says, okay, I need 3 things from you. What day? What's the theme? And give me an inspo pic.
Is this all you say, or do you warm them up with just a few more words above it? I don't think your reply is, I need 3 things. I need your money.
I said, hey, so excited about your order.
There
That's
you
an
go.
awesome theme. There's 3 things I need
There
from you
you
to
go.
see
So
if I can take your order.
Warmed him up, but we immediately move the sale along. Always be closing.
My second response to them, my second message to them is a quote.
Nice.
You're going to know how much this is going to cost you. We're not going to have we're not going to plan this set out together until you know what it costs.
What I see oftentimes, and I love you all to death with my whole heart, soul, body, mind, spirit, love, heard, understood, is that the way you write is way too chunky. It's way too wall of texty.
It's a lot of information you give for something that needs to be sweet and to the point.
Yeah, short and sweet, just like me. Okay.
Short, yes. Sweet, no.
We're the same. So kind of thinking about this, when I see people like, a lot of you guys come and ask questions, but you screenshot the chat log, right? So I'm trying to, I can just feel my eyes glazing over when the information is so big.
Yes.
So what you do when you add so much information is you confuse the audience. When a client is confused, they're not reaching for that wallet. They only reach for the wallet when they feel secured and confident in the ordering process.
Yeah, where they're not leaving confused or like, did we decide on a day?
Right. It's really hard to kind of be like, what? So let's say somebody places an order for July 4th. You're out of town. Hey, I'm out of town for that order. Does this day work? You see, that was pretty close. But what I often see, just as an example I'm making up, is, hey, my family's out of town. We may get back at 3, but I don't know if we'll make it back in time. Like irrelevant information to the sale.
Yeah, but you feel like, no, this is telling them like, I really
giving
want
him
to
a reason. Yeah. I'm giving a reason. We're building, rapport and things like that. But it's just this wall of text. It would be NBC, never be closing.
I was asked yesterday to donate 2 dozen.
That's kind of a funny joke. I would like to return back to it.
Go ahead.
It's NBC, never be closing. Thank you. Okay, now we can continue on.
I hope the crowds are laughing.
All 2 people, you enjoy that.
Some lady sent me, she wanted, at the end, I try to read through it. It was the most confusing messages it was a wall of text. I had to dive into it. First, it was this whole story, her friend having a kid, 250 people are coming to this. I'm like, what do you want?
Your attention.
She's like, 1 cookie, a dozen, 6 dozen, whatever you can donate. Okay.
Oh, donate.
Yeah.
So she was worried about that question at the end.
Because she knew.
Yeah.
But you lost me. But I had to scroll through. It was 7 different paragraphs of messages. I could not find.
My attention span could never.
Yeah, I was like, what are you wanting? Turns out she forgot to send where she's located, and she's in Kansas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great marketing targeting right there. So concise and to the point. Yes, we talk about that camaraderie, building that rapport, and you can do that in the shortest amount of words, the shortest number of words possible. By having the concept, what can I do in this one message that moves the sale a step forward?
Yes.
Right. So you don't want to go like somebody's like, hey, I was thinking about a baby, like, pay. Like we don't want to also be that aggressive. There is a sweet spot, and that's why marketing and sales are so complex because you can't go too far and you can't go far enough.
I always think of in sales, you're holding the hand of the customer, guiding them. They're coming to you because they want something you have.
You don't want to guide
them
them
a best friend,
like a bratty kid where you want them to get outside and you yank
I feel
them.
like I'm like opening the door
Right.
and come with us to this next hallway of.
You want to be
payment
the
portals.
museum curator.
Yes.
You don't want to be an angry parent with a kid that won't put his shoes on,
Right.
but you also don't want to be a granny who's just sitting in the porch.
Yeah,
There is a
when I experience small businesses, like I'll be like, hey, I would like to buy this. I want to buy something, because we're doing Christmas in July.
What'd you get me?
I haven't gotten you anything yet.
Rude.
You're not even on my radar. Well, I went to get Ashley a painting of her cat that passed away.
You are milking that little dead cat.
Milking it.
Not a dead horse, a dead cat.
But she loves the cat, so I was like, oh, a little painting of the cat.
How much is that? Is that in the budget?
It was
We have
$75. You scooched it up to
We had a
$75.
$50 limit on Christmas in July. All of our family's birthdays are in January and November.
So this gets you through.
Yeah.
So Heather, it was supposed to be 50. Then Heather spent 70. Now we all
I didn't think
70.
you had to confess the price of what I bought.
Yeah, I was gonna just do 50.
Yeah, I would have kept it 50 if I were you.
So I was like, oh yeah, I would love to get this painting done. Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. All right, what do you need from me?
And there's that sitting on the park bench and not moving the sale along fast enough.
Like you're worried that I'm gonna say an objection, but you're not helping me.
Right.
Where I wanna go.
You can, if you're wondering if you're always be closing or never be closing, you can kind of figure out how you present to people by rereading your own messages. I want to give you a heads up. You have typos. Just you're going to have to power through them. It's going to make you sweaty.
It's really made me learn, like, read through it once, girl. You got the time.
The other day I was reading something I wrote and I said, I had to thank somebody. Thanks for translating that because that made no sense until you translated it. And then because they had replied to me as if it was spelled
They were
right.
like trying to decipher it, hieroglyphics.
I spelled you wrong. I spelled it with 2 random other letters. So that's how you can go back to your messages and say, who's leading this message?
How many back and forth these are going on between you?
Yeah,
two?
just count how many messages before the payment is requested, right? That'll tell you how long. And some clients need more hand holding and some clients don't. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you. What are you doing? How are you managing and leading this conversation? We don't want the client to have to be like, and do you need something from me?
Yeah.
A way to cut through that is always have a form, but how soon can you get the form there and make them feel comfortable enough to click it? You don't want to lead with your form without a little like, hey, I'm so excited.
Is this like, are you trying to steal my...
Take me out to dinner first. So that's kind of how you want to approach that. So when we come with the always be closing, we want to gently grab their hand, gently yank it, and we want to slowly take them through the sales process, all the while adding comfort and confidence, instilling that in them, but also getting us as close as possible to closing the sale. Because if they do not buy and you spend too much time on them, time is money, you've
that
actually
money
lost.
is coming from your next order that hasn't even been placed. It's not free time.
No.
Time is never
Time
free.
is always costing us. So if we can move the sale along, now sometimes you may think, well, this person this sale is taking long. It's like cold syrup, right? And you're like, if I could just warm them up. Eventually, you'll have to say, I've got to cut this one loose. I'm not positive. So you can do these types of sales. Hey, when you're ready, reach out to me and we'll definitely explore this.
My worst thing is to talk to someone about an order and not insert the price soon enough. Because I'm like, oh no, we're both invested. But you haven't gotten over the hurdle of how much this is going to cost you.
So the fancy buzzword is called a quantified lead. And like Corey said, when somebody walked into CoreMax, that's what I call it now, and they physically took time out of their day, meaning they're losing money, to invest in making this car purchase, they are quantified. They are more quantified lead than somebody who's just using the automated form. Yeah. Or the chat that pops up. That's the least quantified lead because they're so far from the purchase process. Somebody's human being body is sitting in a chair wanting to look at this car. They're extremely quantified. So what Corey does when she's inserting, hey, here is my price, and the person continues to message back, we're getting them more and more quantified.
Like, okay, I'm probably going to be able to book this because we all, as bakers, our number one objection is pricing. It just is what it is. It's never theme. You can do whatever the theme is, and it's never colors. You can go buy those colors or mix them or whatever. It's always price or the date. You know, if you're booked, you're booked. You can't make more day. So then it always comes down to price.
Yeah, that's the number one objection. And then, so how do you compete on price? How do you validate? It's your value proposition. How valuable can I? Because at the end of the day, all we're convincing someone is that their money is better spent with us than in their pocket.
When someone reaches out to me cold, like I don't know where they came from, I'm like, you already done your research. You like my decorating style.
Quantified lead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna quote you the price right away.
Yeah, so being an online or cottage-based business, you don't have somebody walking to your doorstep unless your Google My Business is set up incorrectly.
Right. But I guess the way that someone could be like proverbially walking in is if someone's like, I'm looking for a baker who can make 6 dozen cookies, and you put your comment.
And then they message
And then they
me.
messaged you.
Taking that step to message someone and start, that does take, you're shaking everything.
Sorry.
That does take a lot of, resources. And some people are easier at messaging and they're fine with ghosting. But a lot of us are like, well, I'm going to stir up this person. I'm going to engage them. And now I feel like I owe them something.
Yeah. Now I feel like worried about bringing up the price because, I asked them to contact me. I said I could take
Probably the
order.
least quantified lead is you made a post in a community group, and someone says, I'm interested. That's probably because you incited their interest. They weren't, and they only commented and they haven't escalated it to a DM. Because from groups, you can't naturally message someone as a page depending on how the group's set up.
Right.
But so quantified leads. Corey knows if somebody messages her page, that is the most quantified lead. They're the closest, but we still always be closing. How can we move them along? Let's get pricing out of the way. Once they jump over pricing hurdle, what else can we get them through the date hurdle? The second objection, yes. And then order details. And that'll be the third objection. If it's out of your wheelhouse, can you convince them to come down on their expectations and maybe you can compete on price?
I know you asked for a birthday set. I love doing birthday sets.
What about Merry Christmas?
I can't do copyright, but what I can do is like a similar theme. If it's a princess dress, we can do pinks.
That's another big issue I see with people is when there is that first objection and you find that it falls within a morality or ethical dilemma, you say, I don't do that. No. That lead is so close to being converted. It is your job to convince them that the inspiration of a copyright character can equal the same value as Spider-Man's head.
Yeah. Could you make a red 5 for their 5-year-old birthday?
Can you
Maybe
do a Spidey web
on there?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
So that again, so now as we go through the sales process, always be closing, even at every objection. If it is copyright, a good salesperson can pull someone back from the ledge and still sell them on a set they are ecstatic to get.
So another thing we learned when someone came in to buy a car, you needed to introduce them to what you had on hand. If they were like, yeah, we're really interested in this blue Volkswagen, I'd be like, but have you looked at the red Volkswagen? Unfortunately, we don't have it on the lot today.
Wait, the blue guy? But you had a red one?
No, they wanted a blue one. We have a blue one on the thing. And then I give them an objection. Saying like, oh yeah, have you seen the sunroofs in these? I know the one we have on the lot doesn't have a sunroof, but you got to check it out one day.
Why?
Yeah. So if you are a baker, tying this back in, would you like to choose from the flavor menu I have? I'm developing more flavors as we speak. I'm working on a birthday cake one. Do you see where you had a menu and now you're giving them more options and they're like, oh,
you're saying this is bad.
This is bad.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was good. I was like, how do you sell the car you don't have?
No,
wouldn't you want
that's what they did. So the managers were like, sell what's on the lot because that can go out today. Don't introduce objections in your own sales thing that they didn't even know of.
Oh, wait, yeah. I think people are going to be like, are you lying? No, we're being honest actually with ourselves. So
hey. When someone emails me and they're like, yeah, I really, really wanted this specific design on this specific cutter. Hey, that sounds awesome. Here's one I actually have here in my little collection of cookie cutters that it could be really similar to that. It'll just be a little bit of a different shape. Let's go ahead and do it that way.
Here's what I tell people. And I know this is going to rouse some feathers, but it's so wild that you wouldn't. I wanted to take a car in. What car was it? Oh, I had the Acura and I needed to get it rekeyed because I had lost the key. That was a couple podcasts ago. And then my aunt said, well, I've lost my spare key for her Volvo. Can you ask the key guy if he can do a Volvo? So when the guy came, I said, hey, random question, can you do a Volvo as well? And he said, Heather, to just do one Volvo, it's $1,000 for me. So I need you to have a fleet of Volvos here to make that worth it because you have to buy the license or whatever. When it comes down to you don't have the cutter that the client wants, a lot of bakers think that you should eat that cost.
They do.
Right. So, okay, because we're talking about something so cheap. right?
Yeah.
But when we extrapolate it to the Volvo guy, he would have to pay $1,000 for my aunt's $300 key.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
wouldn't be
make
in there for
sense.
him.
But in the same principle, you're saying, well, buy it because maybe you can rekey more Volvos later. And his science was like, well, I'm doing just fine with Acuras
Listen, bakers love to eat the costs
of
and
everything.
bake it for you.
Yeah. So when someone says, hey, this is the cookie cutter I want, here's how I word this. Awesome. It's not a cutter I have. I can order it and add it to the cost of your order.
Yeah.
But if not, I can get real close with this one. And now you're going to have the baker say, well, you deserve to give them the cutters. The key guy isn't giving my aunt.
The license to
Yeah.
Volvo.
Yeah, that just it gets really complex. And nobody wants the cookie cutter that they paid for. Just tell them if they want that custom shape, you're happy to order it. Again, this is your time. You're not factoring in that it takes time to place these orders for these custom cutters or these cutters that you don't have. Tell the client, here's your option, but I have a cheaper option. It's not exactly what you want. You tell me, and
Yeah.
we'll do that.
So what I have learned, what saves me a lot of objection and overcoming things, they'll send me an inspo picture and I'll be like, hey, I have a lot of cutters that are very similar to the things in this photo that we can use, and bada bang, bada bam. You know, I'm never like, well, I do not have that one onesie in there. Is that something that you needed? Because I've created an objection.
You've
for
given them the
myself.
objection.
They're
They're
like, well, yeah, no, I did want that.
that was actually the only thing I wanted.
So if you can't introduce objections into your own sales funnel, you have to always be closing. Is the next thing you are going to say going to cause the sale, or is it going to end the sale? You always want to be going towards the ending of that sale.
And the sale is made, not the sale is lost. Don't lose these sales, guys. So when you think about it, and I really like what Corey's saying here is don't give them a reason to say no. And when you guys write those walls of text, what I'm actually seeing, how I'm inferring that is you don't want to tell them no, but you also can't tell them yes. So you're over explaining the no.
Yeah.
And that's confusing.
Pricing,
Yeah.
sometimes even I face it too. I'm like, wow, I really like this lady. I really like her order. I really would love to do her theme. I feel like I'm expensive. So I'll be like, I just want to bring that up. I know it's a little pricey, and let me know if it's out of your
But
budget.
you handed them
the
objection.
they're like, yeah, I guess it is out of my
There's
budget.
a lot for that.
At the end of the day, they came to me knowing that they were going to spend something.
Right. Do not weaponize that, what we just said, though. No is not also the complete answer here. No needs to be explained as well. So don't say like, well, it's a little pricey. Well, then I can't take your order. No, like the know your worth thing, we just end comments with like, I know my worth. No. We're salesmen. We're saleswomen. You've got to know your worth, and then you've got to convince them of that. And that is the always be closing. So someone's like, well, you're a little expensive. I know. And I wish I could cut costs, but I really want to give people the best product made with the best ingredients. And with my costs accounted for, I think you're absolutely going to love how this tastes. You almost have to try it, and you'll wonder how you've lived life.
I
Until
did
this
quote a
point.
lady 75 for an order, and she's like, I thought it was going to be 65. And I said, yeah, you got metallics in there, sweetheart.
You got my what?
She said, you have metallics in there, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like,
You
can
did
you
not.
do 70? I said, all right.
You didn't call her sweetheart. Honey,
I said, hey, if you haven't bought vanilla bean paste in a while, it's at an all-time high. And she's like, okay, can you do it for 70?
But now, okay, so some people would be like, well, I know my worth. No. That is still a way of closing, is to allow there to be some wiggle room. If you have profit factored in, you do have wiggle room. That's why we say, 15 to 20% profit. There was a thread in another group, and it was like, what do you guys charge as profit percentage? And people were like 50, 60%. Like
60%. What am I doing wrong?
You need to take lessons from them. The average profit, and that can change throughout the cycle of your calendar year, is around 15 to 20% for a really healthy business. That 15 to 20% is where you have your wiggle room with the discounting. And we don't talk about discounting a lot because we don't want people to discount their without margin.
Yeah.
So when she says, hey, 70, well, we're pretty close here. I mean, she says $5. Could you afford it? Yeah, but it's fine because there's profit built in.
Yes. So I wasn't technically.
Imagine if Corey hadn't added the cost of the additional resources needed for this set. Then now the bargaining is on. We're very close.
Now it's heated. Like I can't. No, my lights will not turn on unless I charge
Yeah.
appropriately for this.
Right. So Corey can discount because profit is built in. Do you want to be discounting all the time? Not how I'd want to run my business. There is the argument of scale, economies of scale. However, for bakeries, it is a little bit harder if you're not a brick and mortar with a team.
Yeah, especially if you've not sat down. I encourage everyone to sit down and time your decorating time. And that doesn't even count the dough you made, you running to the store to get all that stuff. I mean, just sit down and time you putting icing on the top of the cookie.
Cakecost.net is a pretty nifty app that people use to kind of get a grip on life, get a grip on their costs. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be flying blindside on what it's costing us to produce, because that will be our bare minimum charge. And then we'll add in indirect costs, which I think cakecost.net factors in. And then you'll want to add your profit, because we can't be a profitable business.
Eye-opening.
Horrifying a little, but
opening to see how much these sets cost. Now, because I know what my costs are, I can't charge less than my number. If I don't fit in your budget, I'm so sorry.
people say,
God bless the baker who does.
and I just want to explain this. People say, okay, well, you're telling me to charge an hourly rate. Essentially, we're all employees of ourselves because we're one-man bands. Okay, cool. But they're like, but I don't want to make, I want to make $20 an hour. Like, who wouldn't? Like, best employee I've ever had, myself. But when you're new and your skill set is low, just like at McDonald's, you're going to make you're going to make a lower rate.
I would
because
say
it will take you longer.
It took me forever.
Right. So it doesn't mean just because it takes you forever that somebody's got to pay you $20 an hour. No, because it takes you forever, you actually make less because you're not as talented just yet. Mm-hmm. And then as you get better, just like if you went to any restaurant or business, the
practice makes you more efficient.
Yeah. And then you get to charge more for that efficiency. So that's kind of how I think some people kind of lose themselves. Like, why am I charging $1 million? I just started.
True.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it equals out. I mean, you can't be like a $200 dozen,
Not as starting out. So then we would have to, okay, if you say, well, I'm new and I am at $200 a dozen, according to cakecost.net, then we need to lessen the complexity of the design.
Yeah. So then that's when people are like, okay, I have tiers.
Yes.
You have 3 designs, 3 colors. And the next tier up is 4 designs, 4 colors.
Yeah. When we have less complex designs, then you can cut your cost because it's less resources, less time.
That's why I asked for an inspo photo. It tells me what's important to the customer.
Love it.
I can see like, oh, lines are important.
But that's another quantifier. That's another lead quantifier.
It is. It tells me like what you want is something I can do in the appropriate amount of time to make a profit.
Mm-hmm. And you know what their expectations are. It's great because sometimes the bakers have expectations that actually exceed what the client even can envision.
Most of my clients don't want anything that's going to rock your socks.
Right. A lot of bakers say, I can rock their socks, and they didn't even know it. I want to challenge you not to be an artist there, but be a business person. They didn't want rock socks. They wanted these cookies in the way they sent them. So as much as you are compelled to over-deliver here, over-delivery is destroying your bottom line.
Small businesses are awesome, but they also over-deliver, so they end up losing out.
Right. You're going to have a client for life because they got one over on you. Yeah. They'll never leave, but you'll be suffering during it. Mm-hmm. So what we want to do is we want to be honest with both their expectations, our abilities, and our accounting. Because cool guys, you can, light yourself on fire, warm other people, something like that.
What?
Yeah, don't say, I'll give you the best cookie in the world.
Don't light yourself on fire the cost of warming others. Let me go.
That's exactly what I said.
That sounds morbid. Don't
be liddies for other people's no betties.
Don't light yourself on fire to keep others warm.
I was very close to that. So yeah, while I'm like, but guys, you say the customer experience, then get tool and fancy packaging and factor those into your cost. But what we don't want to do is oversell what the client want what they wanted.
Also overselling that. I know, like, I've never drawn out a set, mostly because I cannot draw. But people are designing.
I haven't drawn because I cannot.
But people are designing in Procreate. They're making they're
quite
making
the experience
set before the set's even made.
Are you charging for the time that you did
the problem?
Drawn
Are
set?
you creating an objection for yourself where now you're at a loss?
Because think of the design process. It elongates the funnel, and then we can sneak in more. Well, that's not really the flower I want.
Yeah, can we come back to this cow print? I would like more of
yaks.
The yak cow versus the beef.
Dairy
cow. I did not know what cow to go for.
That's only 2 cows I got.
Long-haired cows that goes in front of their eyes.
Those are the yaks.
No, that's not a yak. It's got a name. It's not
pretty.
Bison.
I think that is
it's
a different
not a bison.
Animal. Bull crap.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Blah, 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 blah.
There are people yelling at the cow they just made.
Highland cows.
So back to kind of get us to the end of this podcast so you guys can go watch the fireworks. For those of you in America, happy 4th of July. Canada, we thank you for the smoke.
Stop. They had Canada Day on July 1st.
How did you say that? Canada. July 1st is Canada Day?
Uh-huh.
We couldn't have timed these a little bit closer?
Yeah, it's
Come on,
Canada.
George Washington. We could have scooched it a few days
I
earlier.
know.
Victory across the Delaware. I wonder if Mount Vernon's open
Listen,
today.
always be closing. Get back on the subject.
Okay, well, that was the end of
What were you
it.
saying about Mount Vernon?
George Washington's Day. He crossed the Delaware.
Is Monday?
What?
Did you just say, is it open
I
on
wonder
Monday?
if it's open today on a Tuesday, the 4th of July, his big day.
Mount Vernon?
Where he lives.
Like you were even going to go?
Maybe. We've been 50 billion times.
I know, but you were not going to go today.
I just wonder if they were like, this is their big seller or they're closed. You just don't know.
You just don't know. You just
Father
don't
of a
know.
country or not. Okay, moving on. We have absolutely no Facebook Live. So if you would like to volunteer,
Before we were volunteering you.
Yeah, doesn't require you to be an expert at anything, just requires you to have an experience that anybody can glean a little bit of knowledge from. And you can sign up for that at sugarcookiemarketing.com/live. I do think we have a text to talk about the CookieCon Florida.
CookieCon Florida is coming up. Heather said, don't have anything on your calendar at the end of August, beginning of September, because that must be when it is. Heather Campbell Brookshire is actually sponsoring our happy hour that we're having down there. And guess what? She's also a Disney planner, which is awesome because it happens to be in Orlando.
She can actually plan Universal as well and says she's working on tours to Mars. Just kidding. I told her, she was like, yeah, I can do that. And I was like, well, I'm just going to start signing up for every.
But if you're planning to go to CookieCon down in Florida, even if you're not going to our little mixer or happy hour, when in Rome, hire Heather Campbell Brookshire, free of charge to you. She sets you up, whichever park you want to go to, which I learned there was 4. Only thought there was 1. And you
Isn't
can...
there 5?
No, 4.
4?
4 main
What
ones.
are they? Say it. Disney people, be quiet right now.
There is the Animal Kingdom.
Ding.
Epcot.
Got it.
Hold, I know what the other one is.
The one where...
Main Street.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it Main
No,
Street?
it's not called that.
Main... Madison Garden. Magic Kingdom. And the last one, I did not like this one, but it was Hollywood Studios.
Sorry, aside. I liked Hollywood Studios when it had the Indiana Jones experience.
Yeah.
Corey did drag me out of work on Friday. Should have been doing the Cookie Class Kids. And she said, let's go see the Indiana Jones movie. If you saw the 4th Indiana Jones movie, hated it myself. Sorry.
Hated it.
No. But and I gotta say, popcorn-esque.
Shia LaBeouf, not but.
it's a slow day, guys. But I will say, I will say that the Indiana Jones 5 was amazing.
Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, really great because it kind of nodded back to the original. It was very Top Gun-esque, but
But
you didn't have to.
he was his age now. And it was
And they
like
owned it.
nodding
They
to
owned
like
it.
he is a
Yeah, like
76-year-old man.
they weren't trying to make a 76-year-old man a heartthrob.
Yeah.
But they did make us feel like he was his
But
heartthrob.
he was like,
and
wow, I'm going to be hurting tomorrow.
I really liked it. Highly recommend. Won't
was good.
spoil the ending. It was very good.
It was a nod back to the first 3.
Yeah.
So if you like the first 3, you like this one.
They pretended that the 4th one didn't exist.
It almost was like they wrote it out.
Yeah, it was great.
It was really good.
Okay, moving on. You want to tell us about the Cookie Class kits that dropped yesterday?
Cookie Class kits that dropped is groovy. And what's the word that rhymes with groovy?
Movie of the money into your bank account.
Movie of the money into your bank account. We've dropped the next one, and this is August Class. You know, I was like, what can we do in August? Heather said ice cream. I said, we've been there, done that. And I said, you know what's really on trend right now is this groovy theme. So you can do this class and then use these cutters for an order.
You know what? Kim from the college, she messaged the Cookie College page, and she was like, hey, I really like the Cookie Class kits. Would you be opposed? She's in the college. She paid for all this. Would you be opposed if I just make these for my clients as a set?
No, that's exactly.
Please
That's
do.
why I'm
Squeeze
trying to
the
use
juice from this berry.
When I'm designing these, I'm trying to think, can these be used somewhere else? The bee can be in any honeybee theme.
Yeah, here's my thing. Turn them all into DIY kits. Just don't even teach a class. Just have a DIY kit, and guess what? You get the PowerPoint. Give that to the people who
They
buy
get
your
to see
DIY
the
kit.
finished photos. You didn't lift one finger.
Really, all you did was put together a DIY kit, and Corey gave you the amount of icing you need. She gave you the colors of the icing. She gave you all the shapes you order from Sweet Pink Olive. They're not included if that's confusing. You ordered the shapes or STL files from Sweet Pink Olive. She has them all set, ready to go, and all you do is boom it together. I give you all the promo stuff. You won't need to lift a little finger.
And then you can use these cutters like, the two hand doing the peace out hand.
Yeah, I was struggling with peace sign and peace sign because there's
yeah,
an
I know.
actual sign.
So peace out is where
Yeah,
I think
that's
this one is. You can use it for the end of the school year. Peace out school year. Peace out to the summer.
That's cute. Yeah, that's cute.
All the groovy themes.
I think the peace sign you could turn into a wedding circle with flowers coming off of it.
Yeah, a plaque.
Then there's a
floral
circle,
plaque.
which you probably
That
have.
was a little like we all have circles.
But I will say he's huge and he's delicious. I ate him just a second ago.
Delicious. All the florals.
The van was cute. Nobody has gonna have that van.
That would be a groovy set for sure.
Yeah,
you'd
for
have to
sure.
do. But like
You
someone
could
says,
turn the van into a car or a school bus.
a funky looking school bus.
Really? Because their school buses are bubbly.
Not
Just give him a
You'd have to give
nose.
him a little.
Yeah.
I can't picture them in my
I can in mine, but I'm not a cookie dough grater, so good luck.
But yeah, so that one has dropped. You get everything. I added a few extra like this or that things.
That's
Someone used it and people were like, "Yes,
Nice.
that."
I want to explain to you guys what the membership is versus a single product. And I know that's confusing. So when people when I sign up, what do I get? For $63, you get every class we've ever dropped, which is 9 now. But you're saying, but what do I get next month? You'll get an additional class next month. So then you'll get all the 10 that we've dropped. And you're thinking, do I have to pay $63 10 times? No, you pay $63 one time.
Yeah.
Then you get all the classes. So you're thinking, well, what if I sign up just in 2 months? Do I get 11 classes for 63? You do. You weren't the first to get them. A lot of other people got them. But that is absolutely something you do. And then I have people saying, well, what if I do the Cookie College? Do I have to pay for the Cookie Class kits additionally? No. The Cookie College is $76, just a couple dollars more. Not only do you get all 9 classes, you get absolutely everything we've ever made ever.
Yeah, so
You
private
get Corey's kid
Facebook
too, because she
group.
made him, so he's included.
Sending them to you. We're all watching him 2 weeks of the year. Please
He's a
send him-
Cookie College kid.
Send him back well fed with some knowledge. He's in the 8th grade.
So that is how those membership works, and that is, could we sell each class individually for $63? We could.
But Heather said we're not allowed to.
I just thought it was a little greed
Heather
muffin.
said we're not allowed to. Of course, Heather doesn't do any of the designing, baking, decorating.
What I told Corey is at the end of the year, we'll retire all of the 2023 classes to the college, and then the Cookie Class kits will restart.
You're insane. Does anyone want to see what September?
Yeah,
me to tell
you
what
kind of
September-
totally left his
Yeah,
hand.
no one liked it. You don't deserve
Okay,
it.
I want to see.
All right.
See? Exciting.
Move on to the next topic. Okay, I'll just tell you the 6 things we're gonna do.
Okay, wait, the
September,
theme is called, Summer came up with it, our little sister.
which is what is that?
Fall faves.
Fall faves.
Yeah.
Fall faves. We have the chunky little pie. Like it's a full pie, not a pie slice.
Nice.
It is a maple leaf with a heart cut out.
I saw SPO did that. I was like a
Stinking
little
cute.
crazy.
A what is it? A camper mug, like the
Those
like
tinny
hot,
ones?
I'm
Yeah.
drinking hot chocolate.
Hot toddy.
A corn on the cob.
Gotta have a cob.
A sunflower because 'tis the season is right now.
Because then we get to go to corn mazes. My vibe.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it, really.
Yes, and then apple because apple picking.
Gotta have it. Let's go actually
Yes.
do all the things. We'll
Listen.
take the cookie and we'll do the thing with the
and
cookie.
take a picture.
Mhm.
Content right there.
Okay.
So that's September. So don't ask me what November, December, and October are. No clue.
But usually on the 1st. But you can sign up now and you can get the August class, you can get the January class, you can get the February, March, April, May,
And they're
June,
stinky
July
cute.
class.
They all go together.
I gotta say,
There's a designer designing these. I'm
T-
just giving her the ideas in my brain, and she's actually making them. They're one of ones.
they're very cute. The whole thing, if I would say, money well spent. $63, you'll never get much more bang for your buck.
And I did not want to continue this into 2024 because of the amount of work it has taken me.
I was even thinking, wow, we've oversold ourselves.
But Sweet Pink Olive said she's in.
Of course she is. She's in ride or die.
She never tells me no. I push.
We
the
need
lady.
boundaries around us, SPO. We
She's
need to be
Yet
told
to
no.
tell me no.
So that takes us to that. Oh, we have one text, which I actually think is funny. It's not a question. It says, I'm listening to Wednesday's podcast. My problem is today me and my tomorrow and next day me are so busy, I can't get there. If you guys did not hear, was it last week's podcast, Tomorrow Me?
Yes.
Tomorrow Me is about doing the smallest things you can possibly do that just set up tomorrow you for a little bit of an easier day. What's that something you did this week that was a Tomorrow Me? High
There
five.
is butter on the counter. It's ready to be mixed.
That is very good.
And I got that butter yesterday.
That's good. That's very tomorrow me of you.
I was supposed to make it before I came here today.
You did not
And
set
I
up
said, you
the
know what,
next
that's
day
gonna
me.
be tomorrow me.
It's all good. It's all good. It's good. What does that take us to? Sponsors.
Sponsors. AE Corebackers emailed me. She's fractured her wrist.
No.
Yeah, trying to do parkour.
You kidding
I
me?
don't know if
Oh,
she did something and she fractured her wrist, but she told me to tell you that if you tried to use the SCM discount code, which is sugar cookie, in the past week and had any issues with that, they have fixed it on their end.
wow.
So you're good to go if you want to save 20% off their new pistachio.
Oh, wait, really? Did you get that?
I'm doing an unboxing.
Oh,
Haven't
so you
unboxed.
haven't gotten it yet?
It's there in my kitchen.
Oh, I can't wait.
Tomorrow me can't wait either. It's tomorrow me's project.
Oh.
You can use code SugarCookie at acorbackers.com. Save 20%. They are rolling out new ones. They have awesome ones, tried and true ones, red, white, and blue ones. And I'm proud to be an American.
We were supposed to see the guy who sings that.
Lee
in-
Greenwood.
Lee Greenwood. We didn't. Don't know why we didn't. Corey sings it so loudly.
He was blaring in my car on the way here.
What are we going to do on the podcast when we do the twin trip?
Twin?
In 2 weeks. The twin. You win.
We might have
We
to
do it
take
on
a break.
Monday.
We might have to take a break.
Really?
Let's see how many people text in. If only one or two people text in next week.
So
Really?
how many need to text in for us to do it while we're out of town?
7.
7? 5714. Oh, no, that's my
Oh.
personal number. 571-556-5644. Text
If
in
we get
7 of you.
7 text messages.
You get to hear
between
these
now
voices.
and next Tuesday.
You can hear these voices
You'll
again
get a podcast drop before me and Heather go to the beach to sleep
on the twip.
on the twip.
Ah.
Take us, Eduardo.
Eddie is a direct-to-food printer. I've seen such cute stuff people have done with Eddie for this 4th of July.
I know.
Rockets and red, white, and blue. It really allows people to streamline, again, what we talked about, streamline that production process
Yeah.
and really speed up. I mean, you can increase production at a rate that's almost unfair to say.
you have to flood one cookie white, then you can print on them and maybe do some lettering or an outline over it, and it looks super cute.
If you can nail down dipping, you can nail down Eddie, and then you can just pipe like just a little bit of an additional zhuzh.
You said all the hardest things out there.
Dipping?
Dipping
I have
is
no
not
clue what I'm saying. I'm
easy.
just making up words. If you make sure your butter doesn't bleed. But yeah, Eddie, check out Eddie Printers Users Group on Facebook. It's a Facebook group dedicated to the machine. Primera runs it. And it is a pretty fantastic how people push that machine to do absolutely stunning.
I'm not pushing them enough.
No.
I don't know how to really size things. Heather sends me things that are sized, so I'm a little bit of a cheater. Cheater pumpkin eater.
All you have to do is split your profits 50%, and you can get a Heather as well.
Last but not least, Royal Batch. Best meringue powder on the planet. Quote me.
Bold statement.
Quote me.
Bold
Tried
statement.
'em all.
Corey said in the car the other day, because obviously she's still driving me around because I'm 5. She says, got it on lock. Got what on lock? The car? No. Icing bleed. It's on lock. I don't suffer from it anymore. I'm good. I've conquered it.
If I see icing bleed, I'm like, what? What?
Who are you? What is
I'm
this?
going to eat you. You're so random.
And so, because you can attribute it to Bakety Bake,
Yeah, and a little bit of science in my mind. Thicker
you got to
icing.
understand, guys, we all live in different areas.
Listen, I went outside for 2 seconds to
So
walk the dog,
humid.
and I had
It's ridiculous.
beads of sweat.
Ridiculous.
Beads. Beetles.
Corey loves beads and beads of sweat.
beads of sweat.
We're
coming
losing
around.
it. We're losing our
Okay,
podcast.
use code TWINS to save 10% on your Bakety Bake meringue powder. Call Royal Batch.
Do you have Pinterest?
Oh, we have mail. Ma'am.
Wait. Oh, you got the
Mail.
mail?
No, it was sent to me. Ann
Okay.
Clark.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Ann Clark. Ann Clark cutters. We
I
all
saw,
have 'em.
did you post a reel? Is that what
did.
people were saying?
I haven't used them, but I
So
opened.
what
I
did they do?
unboxed.
What did they send you? Walk us through the unboxing.
There was actually 2 boxes. I've only opened one.
No, you had the
One's
discipline
a
not
flatter
to.
box. Yeah, I'm frothing at the bit to open this last box.
Huh.
Watch
I'm
it
surprised
just
you
be
didn't
like,
open it.
Please just open the other box. No, this big heavy box. I was like, what could be in this? Opened it, and she did a nod to the podcast.
She
Love listening to the
did.
podcast. It is their gel food coloring.
So is
First
this a
off,
new product?
It is.
Interesting.
I did not know, but these aren't little tiny. You know, like the Americanas
yeah.
are tiny. These are big old dudes,
Oh.
like big old bottles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you're constantly running out of the Americans.
Yes.
Which they have a lot of colors and they're great, but
Right.
like they're
but
little.
These are So I posted the reel. Someone said these are all I use because a little goes such a long way.
So you know, I'm that type of buyer where I get the biggest bottle of something and
Yeah.
I just want it to last for
Absolutely.
I don't care if you're expired.
Guess
I'll
what?
use you forever.
Christmas is coming up. That red.
Oh, it's punchy.
They said that red only needed like 2 drops.
Wow.
I cannot wait to try it. I only thought, you know, like sometimes they only have like main colors.
Yeah, that's what I'm
No, they
thinking.
have, like one of the hardest colors for me is royal blue. It
Oh,
always looks
people
sky
do
blue
struggle
to
with
me.
that one. Maroon is also one I see people
Yeah,
bother
they
by.
had fuchsia in there.
Oh,
They had a
so they had
pumpkin orange.
a lot of colors, and the colors were in
Yes.
big bottles.
Yeah.
Had me at hello.
So with those that I got, you can mix and match those to make even twice as many colors.
Wow.
With a little
Wow.
color theory. Well, color
Oh,
theory.
we have to think.
Yeah, but it doesn't take half as much of the storage if you can
Oh,
learn the
nice. Storage
colors.
is slept on. That is a cost of business that we can't quantify very easily.
Absolutely. So I can't wait. So on my next reel I'm going to do is me mixing some of those colors.
I like it.
I know.
And more.
So
Do you have a
excited.
personal Pinterest? I'm going to be tempted. I'm in a spendy, goofy mood.
A personal twin? Okay, yes. My bedroom is hot. Last night I slept like
We're taking this.
Hey. Last night I slept like trash. I had the fan going, but it was like hot cold.
But it's so hot outside. I think
It's
it's
so
hard for
hot.
the machines.
But also, my room is exactly the farthest point in the house from the
Yeah.
HVAC. You know what I found?
What?
And maybe you don't have it. I don't know. There's this vent.
Yeah.
You put it in your vent. You take your vent cover off that you have.
Like
You
these
put
ones,
this-
like this thing right down there? There's like the original guy.
Yes.
Okay.
You put it's another vent, but it's electric.
It has a fan in it.
It has a fan. It reads when it's a certain, like if it gets to like
Ah.
75 and you're like, that's too hot, it'll turn on. What it does is suck the air from inside the vent and pulls it into the room.
Is it worth it? I'll go about.
I
I'll buy
it.
one right now.
Listen, it's in my card. The reviews,
How much
though,
is it?
70.
I
With a
knew.
$10
70
gift
is a cart, like at least a week waiting period in the cart.
I had first found it out on TikTok. Someone got one. And they said, I can't believe I've lived this long. Someone says,
What are the
imagine-
reviews on Amazon?
Yeah, they were really good.
4.5. I don't look at anything below.
4.8.
Oh.
Here's the thing. How many degrees cooler in a room would you think it's worth it? Someone said
2,
it dropped.
even 2 degrees.
Yeah, 4 degrees.
Then that's to understand the difference between 74 and 70 degrees. That is changing your entire
Yeah,
life
I'm, like,
experience.
Sweating. I have my
I
dog's
can't.
fan on me. He gets it at night, and then I take it off during the day.
Nah.
So I think I'm gonna get one. It has to be plugged in though, obviously.
Oh,
So some people
Huh.
had them like on their like ceiling.
that
with the,
is
like, a
absolutely
cord coming out.
atrocious. That is atrocious.
But mine is on the floor of my vent,
okay, not bad.
under my side table.
Well,
My
that's
bedside
also
table.
affecting airflow.
But
by
I
the way.
have one of those like.
Man, you
gate
have like a
things.
whole
Yeah,
system of
because
trying
I'm
to get
so
air.
hot.
It is so hot.
And you
It's the
can't
price you
have
pay for
those.
indirect natural light is that you're roasting constantly.
And I'm in townhouse. I'm not even on the end. I'm in the mid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know.
This,
So I
this
think
weather's
I'm
a
gonna
bit
get
much
that.
for me. This weather.
Yeah. What if I got that and lowered the temp?
Oh, 100%. I made the biggest purchase I made last year
Yeah.
was a portable HVAC system, and I almost named it. I look at him. He's a man.
I got one because of
He's
you.
a really cool dude. Yeah, it really.
Listen,
I gotta say, I hate that I
listen.
spent that much.
Love it.
Love it. Love it. Something
Was it cheap? No.
No,
Heather's
but
was way more expensive than mine.
and
How much
I.
was yours? $700.
Yeah,
Okay, guys. I think
I will
spent
take him.
$395.
I will be buried next to that.
Yours
thing.
is huge.
Yeah.
Mine's a little bit more.
You know, I
like,
did like a deep dive research project in what all those numbers mean. And they were like, hey, listen, if you want to be cool, like you
Yeah.
can't, the higher that number is, the higher the price is, but the cooler you get. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with the Band-Aid
Yeah.
fixes.
I did ask my HVAC guy because I was like, dude, it's damper is damping. It's hot upstairs.
Yeah.
He was like, no, they're all faced right. He's like, here's my suggestion. Just get one of those things
What
that go in the
am I
window.
gonna say?
And I said, which one? He's like, as long as you can pronounce the name and it sounds like something you've heard before, you're good.
Toshiba. Here's the thing. The window mounted units are more effective than the portable units.
But
That's a
lot
lot.
of HOAs say no. To
Yeah.
that.
So I said, okay, I'm going to do the portable unit. That guy is huge for this room. But I was like, I want to be winter's cold.
See them dancing.
I want to be cold. I want to think, oh, but you know what? You know why this is so expensive? Not to mention the numbers were high. It also has a built-in heater if I wanted to switch
See, I
it. But the
didn't get a
big
heater
thing
one.
is the app. So from
I didn't get the app
from
one.
my little
Didn't-
cold
did
spot, I
not.
can just say, "Go tell yourself up."
Did not.
Because and that was a ridiculous cost to spend on that. But it talks to the Google Home, so I can tell Google to turn it up and down.
Nice. Yeah,
wanna be-
I that's why I went cheaper. I got to go in there manually, use my finger.
I will say, was $700 excessive? Yes. I am doing nothing with my life, so it makes
is
sense.
your comfort.
Oh, well, I could throw up how much more comfortable I am.
Comfort.
It's making me sick how cool I am. I
time
am
you've ever said
freezing
that.
to death and happy about it.
So, because my bedroom is in the front of the house, I can't really necessarily put one of those in the window.
They are an eyesore.
They're an eyesore.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to be taking it out every day before HOA again.
No, it's an eyesore to put up.
I know. Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm thinking that little register guy.
Oh, so you don't even have that as an option.
No.
Ugh.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
hmm The basement's 2 degrees because I'm like
I
praying
know.
that it goes up.
It is crazy.
My husband has to like put on a sweatpants down the basement.
Is he not being wearing sweatpants in the
I
basement?
usually wear shorts.
Oh, good. Thanks for telling us. Because first your bedroom's hot, and then your basement is wild.
Listen, I got fuzzy slippers on, a big old row, my American flag pajama.
I'm gonna say my favorite sleeping temperature is bleak midwinter. I do like the being too cold. My little toesy touch the floor.
I can put on more stuff than I can
Yeah.
take off stuff.
Wow, you just
Yeah, got nice.
PG-13 here at the end. Okay, guys, go have a great 4th of July.
Wait,
Oh,
I feel like we're missing something.
okay, hold on. Let's retrace our steps. We did the sponsors. We did Heather Campbell Berkshire in all 3 names for some odd reason that we say. We did a Twinterest. We did the podcast part that people actually probably wanted to listen to. There was a text, but just the one. Then we did the thread, and then we pushed the Cookie College.
All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. Canada, happy Canada Day. And UK folks.
Thanks for the tea.